Babcock. I'm the proxy for the chair of the election board. It is 2:06 in the afternoon on November 14th, 2024. We are here to finalize the voting from last week. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank staff for all the hard work for doing it, and thank everyone for voting. With that, I'll call the meeting to order. Introductions, to my right.
Vice Chair Jennifer King.
And to my left.
Secretary Kate Sweeney Bell.
Well, thank you very much, and we will begin with the absentee ballot review. Council or Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before the board today, this absentee ballot review, it really consists of materials from the central count of the absentee ballots that happened election day and Wednesday and Thursday afterward. As part of the canvassing process where we're going through all of the ballots that have been tabulated, that have been rejected, we discovered a few things that we wanted to bring to the board's attention and ask the board to address. Pardon me, I get my notes out. So the first thing is we had 300 blank express vote ballot cards, which essentially is a behavior where the voter did not complete the voting on the express vote card and exited the screen before they were finished voting. So what prints out is essentially a blank card. It was staff's recommendation, and the board agreed to essentially put those blank ballots in and not mark them at all, but skip all the way to the end and make them no selection. So they're now cards that have no votes on them that can be tabulated. And the thought was these are folks that checked into the poll book and their ballot should count regardless of whether or not they intentionally voted for anybody or not. So we have 300 of those. And again, the board, if they'd like to take these, piecemeal one at a time, we can deal with those one at a time. There's a few other things. So we had 5 in-person ballots where there were missing labels on the envelopes, and staff should have been able to go in and reprint those labels. So we did that after the election. We had 6 ballots that should have been remade for election day. They were misfiled on election day as rejected ballots, but they should have been remade ballots. We would like to remake those. We had 5 ABS mail ballots that were received timely that were incorrectly filed by staff as rejected ballots and should have been filed as timely, and they've been received, they've been matched, and they've been reviewed, and we'd like the board to vote on those. We had now 9 military mail ballots that were received after election day. By law, they have until noon tomorrow, October 15th, to have their mail ballot received by us. And we received 9 of those since election day. And then finally, to round out sort of the update from central count, there was 1 absentee mail ballot that was processed incorrectly in SVRS, which is a statewide voter registration system. It's sort of an interesting quirk. It was a traveling board application that was processed as a traveling board application, but somehow generated a mail ballot. And that mail ballot was sent to the voter. The voter voted that mail ballot, returned it to us. And when staff received that ballot, they had a hard time matching it up with the mail application until we discovered it actually was a traveling board application. So one of these unique ballots before you will be a mail ballot with a traveling board application that does have a signature. You'll see the voter has marked that they're a voter with disabilities. So staff would like, again, the board to review that and vote to count that, vote to allow us to count those. And I don't know, council may need to weigh in on how we deal with these. I've got them kind of compartmentalized if we want to do that, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board or council might have.
Questions for staff and the board?
Yes, there were 6 remakes, 5 absentee mail, 9 military mail, the 1 travel board processed as a mail ballot. And what was I missed a category.
They were in-person early voting ballots where the label did not print out, but the voter signed the poll book, signed the envelope. Both bipartisan members signed the envelope. So staff should have been able to, prior to election day, go in and reprint those labels and have the boards on election day review those and count those ballots. they were put into a reject ballot envelope. And so again, upon the canvas, we decided that these should be addressed by the board because we believe that, we can reprint the label. All that was missing was the information that the voter's information. So we reprinted that information, matched signatures through the poll books, and were able to reprint all the labels for those 5.
So you're saying a couple dozen out of 330,000 plus cast?
Just specific to the absentees, yes, of the central count.
Okay. I got nothing else. Thank you.
I don't, I would, for those watching, Director Becker, I think having had worked at early vote location, a couple of the instances that you're bringing before us now, I actually saw on at early voting, and the labels, it would have been really easy. Voters would go ahead and fold their casted ballot and put it in the absentee envelope and already seal it and do things before the clerks were ready. So I could see that almost just as an accident, that the clerks needed to give them a new ballot and then just didn't get a new label printed. So I'm in agreement with that recommendation from staff to have those reprinted. It was pretty busy at their site, so that was easy for a clerk to want to just keep the line moving. So I understand it.
And if I may, for the board, all of the mail ballots that I've mentioned have been reviewed by a bipartisan team from our colleagues in the voter registration office. So we do have the applications here if the board wishes to review them, but they've already been reviewed by our colleagues in VR. We felt like that would be a nice step to expedite the process. However, there was one ballot that actually came today that is a military ballot that we did not have time to review if the board would not mind doing a signature review on that one.
Go first.
If you take the envelope out, you can see the application is signed there, and then you can compare those two signatures.
And while we're looking at that, what is the process if the deadline is tomorrow for military and overseas to be received?
That's correct.
So what happens if we get a ballot tomorrow?
Well, we would ask that the board, and at a soon-to-be future moment, the board to basically pass a resolution to allow us to conduct those reviews and count those ballots if they come as sort of a standing resolution.
I think you can just make a motion to adopt staff's recommendations on the absentee ballots for the trailer that says including any military overseas that are properly received and reviewed by the Republic.
Do you need a motion on this, specific to this one?
No, you've reviewed it and checked your bipartisan review obligations there. So then it now just becomes included in the larger staff recommendation.
Well, I will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation on the absentee ballots.
I'm second, or I make that motion, sorry.
With the trailer.
With the trailer to capture any military ballots that come in post this by the deadline.
Yes, I make that motion.
She moves, I second.
All right, we'll take a voice vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Passes. Unanimous. Thank you. Now we move on to the provisionals. Director Becker, provisional ballots.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just going to have staff start working on these here so they can go ahead and get that those absentee ballots processed.
I brought my readers, Fred, now you give me a magnifying glass.
I got an extra one. Just grab them. You got it.
Staff looking at junk.
This,
Sorry, Mr. Chair, is that, are we
Yes,
ready?
please.
Yes, I
Yes.
apologize for the distraction.
Oh, no, it's okay.
So the lengthy log that you have in front of you here is a provisional ballot log for the 2024 general election. What we've tried to do, there are over 2,000 total provisional ballots. Staff has gone through and researched these and provided a recommendation as to whether or not we think that the board should count these or not. Again, our colleagues in the voter registration office, I believe it was 4 or 5 teams of folks that were here all week this week doing a bipartisan research from a voter registration perspective. We also asked them to review the absentee mail signature challenges that were, that came out through the election. So those are captured here as well, and we'll be dealing with those first. And so all of this work culminates in this large spreadsheet presented to the board. On the fourth column from the right-hand side, you'll see the election board count column. That is our staff recommendation. And I apologize, some of these columns headings I think did not get printed correctly. And then the second to right column is the voter registration count column. So as we go through, you can see that there are those columns. The first batch here, the reason they're blank is these are the absentee by mail signature challenge ballots. The other thing I would just say for the board and for the public, you'll note that there's no names on this spreadsheet. Staff goes through and organizes these ballots, and then we assign a randomized number to them. So on the left-hand column, you'll see the number, and that is how we should be referring to them throughout the hearing. And so as I go through these, I will try to compartmentalize these and put them in groups for the board to deal with, and I'll be using those provisional ballot numbers. And I'm happy to answer any questions or at this time, or I'm happy to continue as well.
Questions for?
No.
Thank you, Chair.
No
Thank you.
questions?
So we're going to start the first 151 of these are all absentee mail signatures that were either missing a signature on the ballot or the signature was deemed to be mismatched. So that's when the bipartisan teams or our staff does the review of the signature on the application and the signature on the ballot. The staff recommendation, and I'll just go through these. I'd like to go through these in these sort of groups just for the record, and the board can vote on them as they'd like. But numbers 1 through 35 fall into the category of missing signatures, and so those are voters who did not sign their vote by mail ballot and returned what's called the ABS 18A, which is the signature curing document for missing signatures. And so ballots 1 through 35 all returned ABS 18A signature curing documents. Ballots 36 through 151 all fell into the mismatched signature category, and all of those voters returned their ABS 18B, which is the mismatched signature curing document. And so staff recommendation is to count ballots 1 through 151.
Questions for staff, comments from members of the board?
One point of clarity that the voters sign the envelope that it comes in, not the ballot itself.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. I think I and other staff members make that mistake, which is, yes, they're signing the ballot envelope, the ballot secrecy envelope, not the actual ballot themselves.
Thank you for that clarification. Other comments, questions for staff? Well, entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendations on ballots 1 through 151.
I move to accept staff recommendations to count ballots 1 through 151.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Staff's recommendation accepted. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next group that I'd like to talk about is ballots 152 through 167. These staff is recommending not count. These are ABS mail ballots with missing signatures where the ABS 18A curing document was not returned to us.
Numbers what?
152 through 167.
And Patrick, can I offer up a point of clarification?
Yeah.
That there is no other mechanism for curing this issue.
That's correct. So that deadline for the documents to be returned to us was noon yesterday, Wednesday, November 13th. And so these, this encapsulates anybody who has returned their documentation prior to that deadline.
Which is to say, it's really a binary thing, it's not discretion.
Sure.
Like we're just following our rules.
All right. Questions, comments, board? Clerk.
No, none.
All right. I will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendations about ballots 152 to 167, which is not counted.
I move to accept staff recommendations to not count ballots 152, numbered 152 through 167.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Mr. Director, please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that brings us to ballot numbers 168 through 206. And to Counselor's previous comment, this is actually a group that we do believe the board has some discretion here. So these were ballots that were challenged by absentee ballot signature review teams. And the ABS 18B, so they were deemed as mismatched signatures. The ABS 18B documents were not returned. The curing document was not returned by yesterday's deadline. However, we felt strongly that those ballots should get another review. And we asked our colleagues in the voter registration office to basically do a third signature review, a third bipartisan signature review. And they deemed 39 of those that should be counted. So the staff recommendation is to allow that third signature review to count by that bipartisan team and count those ballots even though a signature curing document was not returned. So going off of the original application, the original ballot envelope, reviewing those signatures for a third time with a third team, and it was deemed that 39 of them should actually be counted by that bipartisan team.
39 out of
47.
So the 39 you mean from the 168 to 206?
That's correct, with
Okay.
207 and 2 to 214
Not.
being the 8 that they deemed were still mismatched.
And Mr. Director, you said this was reviewed 3 times, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. So by law, the absentee ballots that are voted by mail when they're returned to the county, they're reviewed upon the receipt of the ballot. Then they're reviewed prior to election day, prior to them being tabulated. So those are 2 reviews that happen every election for every absentee mail ballot. When they're challenged at one of those reviews, it kicks off this curing process, which is the ABS 18A or B. And it was a staff strongly felt that those needed sort of a third review because we felt that there were some that actually did match and should meet the criteria. But it's not staff's position to do that. And so we thought we would have another team review that, take their recommendation and bring it before the board and allow the board to decide what to do with those.
So want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. Staff's recommendation is to count ballots 168 to 206, and then to not count ballots 207 to 218,
To 214,
214.
and that's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Council, can I take a motion that does both those, or do I need to do it individually? All right, I will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation to count ballots 168 to 206 and to not count ballots 207 to 214. Is there a motion?
I move. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Staff's recommendation is approved. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this brings us to number 215. And 215, 215 through 242. At this point, these all fall into the category is number 3 on the challenge affidavit, which is ID requirements. So the challenge basis is either improper ID was shown or no ID was shown. And these folks have a similar deadline to our folks that vote military by mail of noon tomorrow to November 15th to provide an ID or fill out a document that completes that for them. And so staff recommendation or staff is asking similarly to our previous resolution that the board vote to allow staff to count any ballots that are that IDs are shown prior to the deadline or the forms are completed prior to the deadline.
Questions? No questions? Entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation to allow those ballots if either ID or signature, I think is what you said, Director, is shown by the deadline tomorrow, November 15th, 2024, to count those ballots. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Mr. Director, please continue.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it may be worth mentioning how people could show that ID, or if there's anyone here, like, that has their ID, how would you want to do that?
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, if there's anybody here today that has an ID or has would like to complete the affidavit, I would just ask that you either after the meeting or even during, you can go to the front desk and we can get you the proper documentation for that. Again, tomorrow, if you're showing ID, you can go to the City County Building, 200 East Washington Street, W144. Will be open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Or here at the Election Service Center, 3737 East Washington Street, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And yeah, just come in and we'll get you all the documentation that you need to complete. If you do have an ID that's proper, we'll scan that and make sure that that's included with the document, the provisional ballot documentation.
Thank you, Mr. Director, for that clarification. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I believe we're at number provisional ballot number 243. And this is where we get into our election day provisional ballots. So we've been dealing with primarily our absentee mail and those, what we just dealt with are the ID folks. So these fall into challenge category number 1, which is essentially that they are, not on the poll book and they're not entitled to vote through the fail-safe procedure. The fail-safe procedure, just for clarification, in this election is if you have moved within the county, but you've crossed congressional districts, so you move from the 6th congressional district to the 7th, you're actually not eligible to vote at your old precinct one last time. If you're within the county and in the same congressional district, there's a provision in law that allows you to vote one last time at your old precinct, complete a document, a VRG 412, that will update your record for after the election. So as staff and our voter registration colleagues go through these, what we find most often is if they're marked in that category and we've recommended they count, we've essentially it boils down to, we could say poll worker error, right? Or not being able to get the correct information, right, on election day for the voter. Some of these get, we tell our inspectors provisional ballots are a last resort. And so I think as you go through these, you'll see a lot of these are probably inspectors doing the best that they can in the situation to allow the person to cast a ballot and do exactly what we're doing here, which is allow the board to make determinations afterward. So ballots 243 through 276, they are all marked as not on the poll book and not eligible for the fail-safe. Staff has reviewed them and found them to be on the poll book and eligible for the fail-safe. And so the recommendation is that we count 243 through 276.
Questions for staff?
Nope.
Entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation to count ballots 243 to 272.
276.
276, thank you for the correction.
I move to count those.
For a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Director, passes unanimously.
Thank you,
Please
Mr. Chairman.
continue. Yep.
And then number 277 through 300 similarly fall into category 2, which is their name is on the poll book, but they're not entitled to the fail-safe procedure. Again, staff and VR found that they are eligible for the fail-safe and should have been given a VRG 412. So again, the recommendation is to count ballots 277 through 300.
Questions for staff? No? Seeing none, entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendations to count ballots 277 to 300.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Actually, I do have one quick question.
Yeah.
The election board count, it's, some of them are yes, some of them are no, but then was that an initial determination and then VR came?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you, Madam Chair, or Madam Clerk. So the election board count, and I will make a notation on these for our staff to update this. But yes, election board staff does their review first and then our VR staff. And so often we find, because we don't necessarily have the expertise that the voter registration staff has when it comes to, VR specific functions, that they often find things that we don't find, so.
Thank you.
You cast your vote. Yes, say yes or no.
I heard your eyes. I already
Oh,
eyed
you
it.
I didn't hear you. Unanimous, Mr. Director. Please continue.
301.
Okay, so I think we're on 301 and 302. And I wanted to deal with these two specifically just because I feel like it's maybe a teachable moment. These were voters that were flagged as additional documentation required, which typically on an e-poll book means proof of residency. However, we found this election that voters that had an inactive status were flagged in the poll book as requiring to affirm residency. And we were able to determine that these two individuals were marked in the poll book as inactive, and their flag said affirm residency. And the inspectors treated them as provisionals, as if they needed to prove residency. And so I think it's just a moment for us to say, when a voter is going to the poll book and they are confirming that their address on the poll book is where they live or is correct, that is the affirmation that the voters are required to do. And so I just wanted to kind of take that moment to call out these two specific ballots, and that I think it's just sort of it's an easy thing for our poll workers to mistake. Affirming residency versus proving residency. One requires a document, one requires them saying, yes, I live there.
All right, well, we'll entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation for 301 and 302.
Absolutely, I move to count those. And I second to count those.
All in favor, so go ahead and say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Mr. Director, 303, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So 303 through 480 takes us to the end of what we are recommending to count at this time. And these fall into a number of categories. The one that you'll see most often in there is number 9 category other, which unfortunately becomes what most of the provisionals fall into. The general breakdown for these 178 that are categorized in this way they should have been address changes, so PRG 412s, or they were certificates of error, where there was an error in the voter registration record that was discovered, and so they were either removed from the polls or merged with another record, or had the wrong date of birth or something like that, or they were pre-5s where they should have been given the opportunity to vote because they surrendered an absentee ballot, and instead they were given a provisional ballot. And also I would say a good chunk of these we could categorize as maybe poll worker error, or again, not being able to get the information they needed at the time, so they just did a provisional as sort of a last resort to allow that voter to vote before they left the polls. So they kind of run the gamut, but we are recommending that 303 through 480 count.
Questions for staff? Hearing none, entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendations for ballots 303 to 480 to accept them.
I move to count ballots 303 to 480.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Director, unanimous approval. Please continue with 481.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is where we get to the both staff, voter registration, election board staff, recommend the remainder of these not be counted. And I wanted to ask the chair if there was, if we wanted to allow for anybody from the public to address anybody from staff at this time regarding if there's anybody here that's here for the specifically for their ballot, or their to hear what's going on with their ballot. I don't know, council, do we want an opportunity for someone to inquire about their ballot, or?
I can add some clarity to that. So if there's anyone that received notice that your ballot was subject to this hearing, up until now, they've all been counted. So in that case, you would have, you've got the good result. But if there's anyone here that says, hey, I got notice, I want to know what's going on with my ballot, or I want an opportunity to explain, I think it may be an opportunity to sort of pause and allow for those folks to engage with staff to see what the status of their individual ballot is. You may find that it's already been counted, but we have to keep the status of these confidential at this point in time. So the way to do that would be provide an opportunity for you to talk to someone, Alex probably on staff here, and we can check what the status of yours is. And it may be, hey, we just counted it, you're good. Or it may be you're in one of the no's, and if it's no, then what information do you have to provide to address that? And then there are some like the IDs, you could just, we already said what you could do there. And then there were some others that the signature carrying document was just not provided, and there's just no other mechanism available anyway. And then Brent, I know you have some people online, so if there are folks online that also want to inquire, how do you want to do that, Brent? There are folks online that are.
No comments.
There's no comments online. Okay. Could they email? Yeah. So if you're online, you want to provide something, you can just email it right now to elections.indy.gov. We'll take a second to watch.
So if anyone here would like to discuss, please give Alex in the flannel shirt, and the hat. We need to wait for the resolution for.
Give it 5.
Yeah.
Give it.
Yeah, I'd say just give him a second to see what it is, and then because we just don't know which ballot that individual person is.
Ready time.
Say that.
That's
Um,
bring that up now.
You know who else does? Was Jennifer.
I bring it up out loud because
Mr. Chairman, I believe, was there anybody else from the public? So
No, thank you.
I believe that one has been addressed.
Thank you very much. Well, is there any check online, email?
can we check it real fast? Make sure.
And Mr. Chairman, while we're doing that, Director Becker, I have a question on provisional ballot number 689.
Whoa.
The VR, the election board count says no, but VR says yes. Could you help me understand the discrepancy on that one? That is the only one I believe is guest council.
Page 19.
Yes, page 19.
Yeah, I also see where our staff note is that fail-safe eligible, so
Right.
I'll have staff double check that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
These are ballots, what, through what?
481
Until
2056,
What was the last number?
2056.
Okay.
That was, we originally thought it was that would not be a town hall.
Okay.
Person, but it was, that was not. Changed on the spreadsheet to say that.
To know, very good.
This was originally.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Very
with that
good.
clarification.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Go back.
Yep, that's good. With that clarification,
Is there any emails?
Should we do a provision in the motion that if one does come in,
Yeah, you reserve the right.
for staff to reserve the right to change?
You would have to re-adjudicate that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So like we could, yeah, we can figure that out.
Yeah. Okay.
all right, well, I will entertain a motion to accept staff's recommendation of no with reserving the right to adjudicate until tomorrow or
Until the
For the
deadline.
deadline.
before the deadline. Is there a motion?
I move to adopt staff resolutions on ballots 481 through ballot 2056 with the right to revisit this if these voters come forward with additional information.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Mr. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So I believe that takes us to the end of the provisional log in front of us. And I would, at this time, I would just ask, so understanding the resolution or the votes that were just taken, I would defer to council on whether it's advised to recess.
No, just.
Or I just mean at the end of this meeting until Monday. If something does happen after this meeting before noon tomorrow, so that the board can reconvene. I believe we have until 3 p.m. tomorrow to adjudicate provisional. So I just wanted to kind of go through some of that, maybe logistics now. Is it best to recess this meeting at the end after the completion? Okay.
Yeah, so you gotta stay in while they tabulate, and then you recess until
Monday.
Until Monday.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify that in case something did happen tomorrow morning. That way, I'm assuming the board or proxies could then reconvene at that time.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Director. Thank you, council. So we will, I assume
What's that?
we wait and watch counting.
We do have to wait. You don't necessarily have to watch it, but you have to be in session while it happens.
All right.
The ones that were counted.
Yeah, that's, it's really hard for us to see. They are.
Yeah, that was.
Well, it's like out of county.
Oh, yeah, that-
Out of county. If it's canceled, it's. Right. And they try to find these voters. Hey, Bill. Could you help me with something? Could you help me with? I told Paul what to do, but it didn't. They're still working. Well, you know what, actually, I rescind that request. I am going to get something for myself. Glasses. I'll be right back. You said it.
No, I'm fine.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Challenge signature. That's okay, thanks.
Yeah, Lord.
So there's been some.
I think that
Yeah, well, you can see what we've been doing in the last week, yeah. I tried Yeah, we'll just step away first. Yeah, I mean, the board's in session, so that's not.
So once it gets the stacks of what the county, he's our rep for ESS. He likes to run them. He'll run them. And sometimes even then, they'll have to do something because they've been voted as well. So then we'll have to have a team sit around for readings. Which is really nice. We'll do Jen is someone out there to pink jacket with Chad on staff.
Yeah.
everything else.
That makes sense. Yeah, if you gotta.
Adam knows. I'm at his bakery. He's looking very nice.
And so there's gonna be
Sometimes they'll have spilled coffee on it, and then one that's like, maybe have a coffee stain on it, that will get done. Yeah, I did. Well, I had to stay out my youngest stepdaughter. Had a serious doctor's appointment. So I was gone for about 3.5 hours. No, but
Just in case you need a real singer.
yeah.
So like catch the flag and stay out.
There you go.
You all.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy people. No, I've met them. I don't know. I don't know.
Some of us are.
Okay.
I gotta remake some. There's a public retention procedure that has to be followed. So they just go into that process. And 22 months from now, they will top of those. They got a bunch of retention requests. So they will lock those for 2 extra years. On acrobatic record. Normally it's just for 2 months.
How's everything going?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a little more.
It's really interesting.
Depends on the topic. Challenge here.
Oh,
The public test, run all the machines, you know, media. Center plan where we say we're the really fantastic.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I know that a lot of the guards from across the country and even across the state were instrumental in getting that going. So both sides. That's right. Right. Good. Okay, good. Where they are retrained. Yeah, good. Yeah, right.
That was good.
That's good, yeah. Hey, good. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Exactly, that's, but in terms of the operation.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Right. Good.
One person gets it.
Hey, take it.
One jar back around the seat. See that?
No. Oh, I heard. I didn't see if I heard about it. Yes, because it's not a street now; it's a circle. That's right. Yep. Yep. And I know that's we got a couple of years about that about electioneering.
Oh, yeah, they're not, they're just open.
As long as they're
They have to, like, if they got sliced or something, that is a bipartisan team. And they are, he's reading the ballot.
Yeah.
She is actually. So the voter wishes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Nice. Okay, good. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, well, great.
Yeah.
Right. That's 2,000 people.
Yeah.
I heard it was a big number. Yeah. Okay.
No, Lita Stewart.
Yeah.
I know. Test out EWRT.
Hey.
I have Kate Sweeney Bell.
We're gonna figure it out.
Where are you from?
Oh.
Oh. What's your name? Charlotte, we talked to somebody. Hopkins.
I'm here.
Brad Boswell. Common spelling Brad, last name B-O-S-W-E. Patrick Becker. He is Director of Elections. I am the Secretary of the Very Good Secretary. You want to change it to that? Somebody had to change their password. I said, why don't you change it to, because it's a phrase now. Kate is awesome. That is 14. It's got to be 18 to 32. So Kate is awesome as hell.
Let me read this one so I get it right.
Yes. And I love my job. It is. I mean, when we get to count them, the saying no is terrible, but I mean, you gotta follow the rules, but everyone else does. And I mean, they came in and they tried. It breaks my heart. But they tried. Right to get them. I mean, yes, but unless somebody comes in tomorrow or gets cured tomorrow, it's a great word for it. we cured it. That's, yeah, Carmen was saying, I love that word, and it's true, because, it's provisional, it's at 6 somehow, and all you gotta do is. That's Adam Licker.
I'm with the Office of Corporation Counsel. These are attorneys.
No, he makes sure our contracts are not wrong read. I was gonna introduce you to the person. What do you remember most about it?
It was funny. I walked in, he's like,
Hey, I stopped.
Represent the majority of the city agencies as they are online. So
Dan
the
has
election board, they have contracts for hiring other contracts, whatever else is under kind of contract. That kind of stuff works between us with Patrick. Election board president. Outside of the council.
Holly Lily got married 363 days ago, 2 days ago. And you have a year. So. They don't have to say obligations. So it's trying to find it's not like somebody it was something along those lines.
The large amount that they're not.
I had it in my house until. So, I mean, for the holidays, not like St. Patrick's Day, that's
I doubt it. Still, there's a possibility that it's out there. How are you today? How are you? Good. Sort of seeing the fruits of our labor here.
Yeah, I worked out here for a while. Yeah, I'm an inspector.
Yeah, what goes there?
First one.
Go. That's Wild Lloyd, right? It was busy, yes.
It was busy.
now they got it in DS 800.
So that's the.
Everybody's perception of how they.
Oh, I think it was very, very busy. Very busy.
Right. That's what some people were saying about certain sites. Certain sites that aren't even normally that busy. Garfield. It's good to do.
I don't call that down.
Right. Yeah. That happened a couple of times. The mechanics were busy. Like, did you get your balance in time?
Oh, yeah. No, I knew, I could tell. I didn't wait till it ran out.
Oh.
We were going to run out.
Well, we have one site that they were out for 5 minutes, and I guess the person who called it in downtown that because well, like, oh, we need an hour.
So essentially what I want to do
they had their ballots, but it still makes you nervous when people are waiting in line. But yeah, worked out with voting system that you hear well, and I'm also free. But it helped. You know, I was on the line for a little while, so I got it, which was good.
Yeah, that's where I voted too.
I
I decided not to wait.
I could get
They were just so happy to be there.
Yeah.
But I really
like we can do something about it.
And if you had good staff, and if you
It's his favorite thing.
you had your staff,
He was,
being attentive is the possible do. And that's what's fascinating with this is that some things may have been moved through pretty quickly to accommodate the line. Maybe not looked at as closely. That's what the board seems to have done with all of this. To me, shows the transparency of Marion County when it comes to voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably a long day for me.
Well, it always is. They're at 5. We're pretty good. That I work with.
We did 4 to 11 here.
I was home by 8 o'clock.
And I bet you were glad to.
Yeah. I've done.
You're a pro.
Well, I'm just being swift.
Yeah, but that means you're a pro then too. If you're used
It's interesting. This is interesting. I've never actually watched this before. What happens to the provisional ballots?
yeah, it's always.
The ones that they're still.
Yeah, no, and I write this stuff down and I have a file because I think it's fascinating. I was raised in it's funny. I left here in '73. I went to California. My mom was state treasurer for 2 terms. And it's really funny, like, I remember my mom, they used to go out in the polls, it's so funny, because they would disagree about stuff, and it was, I remember hearing this story, this was in the 60s. They were knocking on doors and making sure people were registered, doing the poll, and it was fun. So I was here 2020, and all of a sudden, they're always back here at the election where I'm going. Yeah, it is. It's funny how things just start. I was talking with my friends in California about it. They worked for different groups. So when I left here, I landed in Southern California. I was there for 10 years and then moved up to Northern California. So I was in the Bay Area from 1980 up to until 2020. Yeah, actually the last 3 years I was in Alameda, which is adjacent to Oakland. I still have my catering business. My kitchen was still in San Francisco, so every morning 3:30 a.m. If I didn't get that bridge, it was 5:15. I'd be in traffic for an hour. It is what it is. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you're retired. What do you have a catering business?
Really, I don't know. It was great. I had celebrated my 30th anniversary on January 15th. February 20th, I lost $500,000. I'm like, okay, time to hold my hand and get back here. And jump into real estate, outside of business, the Republic, and do this stuff. Just, you have to keep rolling, right?
Don't forget to update your voter registration.
We it's not moving until after the election.
Look at fast, yeah. I love doing this. I feel like it's sort of,
That's
it's sort of,
And I'm like,
of course, the parties have changed so much. Neither of these parties are doing what they were. There's different platforms now than they were in the 60s.
Yeah, you might, but in moving, you might get square walls.
They both take each other's name. And that's how she got into politics initially. She ran for mayor. She ran as a and that was the start into formal politics. Interesting stuff. But it was always great to fly home to victory parties.
Bring it, and then we'll come back on.
Yeah, they can.
Thank you. Yes.
Uglier and uglier as time has gone on. It is. It's very different. It's all right. That's why. Working here.
Could also bring up all
So it's like son's in Florida and my dad's in Florida. And my father's mother passed away. Tim and I are going to West Bay for 4 days.
Because it just they something fancy for the holidays.
You know what? There's
They'll be all decorated for Christmas.
humans. It's a human process. So along with that, like you were saying, there's some things that got misfiled. Everybody's trying to do that. I noticed that with the group we had this season. It's like for me,
My stepdaughters run a dog rescue.
people really care.
They're
Organized.
at a polling location. Yeah, they're friends with the organization. They speak to our
Be ready to off for a little bit. Or jump into my next.
And so there was no like weird.
Good. By the way, I fell a lot.
Margaret Keller.
Yeah, we have a break.
So it's yeah, they're gonna be they'll be back in 26. So we'll see how things shape up and where here.
Funny how that making all these voices. Now it's quiet. Maybe they're getting ready to gear it up.
You know, we were running off the actual ballots.
Is it tabulated.
Well, I know because it was in the back, like on election day. It was really all day long. You were running all over the place. Yeah. I was doing all the career stuff. I did all the post office runs.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Good for you.
And I'll tell you something. Primary. I wasn't happy. And so this time, I'm laughing because I'm writing on the back of it. Excel sheet.
Oh, that,
And I was going to count, I was going to look at what they scanned. There was never a time when they were willing to stop what they were doing. They had done the separation, stop the separation. I felt like the post office really stepped up this time. So I never finished this. I never finished it.
oh, good. What's the primary, you felt some improvement.
And I know they got a lot of training.
Okay, good.
A couple of people that they go through all these trainings. I was fascinated. But it's good. Everybody needs to do it's not a matter
I know they probably also balance so they must have a paper ballot.
I don't know that much about that process. That's why I think about how many things I'm doing here. You just keep learning.
Absentee ballot. I'm guessing.
So many times for different things. It becomes all kinds of things. Like it was the vote bank on election day.
And this room is full of
I remember that's exactly what was 20.
because it was cold. That's what it was.
Yes, and
That's
the absentee ballots were, I remember, because we were going through,
Yeah.
there were some things that
This whole
didn't
room
get
was
matched
full.
up. Yeah, that didn't get matched up with applications. I remember when I left, there were 5 that hadn't been matched up. And the third, we always said that there's only one absentee ballot that didn't get matched up with an application. And that was, that's amazing. The
Yeah,
number of.
it is. Because I will say that's exactly what was going on in that. And then there was a lot of, something happened, the first mail about ballots, apply for them, the first mailing.
Oh, it was bad. I do.
Yeah.
I do. It was.
And
the-
people were
the worst
calling, they said, I
possible.
didn't get my ballot yet.
Yeah.
So it never-
Well, what happened with the state too, because I was working with the travel board. Right in 2020, and what happened was the forms for them to fill out, they had the phone number and the email option.
Okay.
It's like, how can you contact people to schedule appointments if you make an email with them? So we have to go back through ER on the computer, see if we can find a phone number by calling people.
Yeah,
But you know what? Talk about trial by fire.
I remember people calling, and that's one of the jobs I had, was 4 of us, and all this time we were answering the phone.
Right.
For people that didn't get their back. Just, getting it out to them.
Yeah, 2020 was a real
Yeah.
process.
Something
I heard,
happened.
well, I didn't get here. Yeah, I didn't get here until I got here at the end of June. Started landing in my apartment in July. Started here right after that. But I heard the primary was just, I mean, all of a sudden, stuff shut. In California, in San Francisco, they slammed everything shut. So, I mean, I had to shutter everything. And the kind of catering business I had, I couldn't adapt it to. It was high end. It was high end cocktail parties and bigger food. It did not adapt to people picking stuff up. I just couldn't adapt. After 3 years. You know what? Did it? Accomplished it. You made it work. Yeah. It's fine. I still have a couple of friends that are still in the kitchen that. Oh, really? I was one that set the kitchen up and brought a couple of people into.
And they're continuing on with their own effort.
They are. Yeah. Which is great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what it's all about.
I enjoy
The
it.
gig economy.
What?
The gig.
It is. It is. Just trying to work out. And for me, just it's always reinventing myself to try to keep it going. Good thing. It's good to be back with family, and I've got a good group of friends and my real estate friends. I can meet them. Try to get through here and meet them. Irving.
Where's your territory?
We're all of Indianapolis. Again, if stuff comes up, even out of the territory. Oh, well, I work at the big companies, United Real Estate, and I'm with the Doug Dillon.
Okay.
So, like Joe Archie, like Mr. Garfield, because he lives in Garfield Park. He does so much business there. He's got stuff going on all over there. And yeah, so we're all over, and it's really fun. But I like it. It's a lot of work. But it's a lot of going. Well, yes, willing to buy something, yeah, but you know what? With what I'm doing right now, and the future, do I really want to spend the next 10 years I'm almost 70, and so I want to be able to enjoy it. Great. I love it. I'm living in an old building on Marion. I love the architecture. Think about it. I'm between 37 and 38. So I'm right in the hood.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was raised there. I was raised in 39 in Carrollton. So I'm not close to where I was raised. So I like it. It's fun. And it puts me in the middle of everything. So when we go north, I got family in Castleton, in Carmel. I mean, zoom right up Meridian, and I'm right there. But when we go downtown, zoom down Meridian, I'm right there. I like it. It's fun. So what area do you live in?
I live Glendale area, and I live on Lake Maximum.
No. Yeah, of course I do. Do you know the Zollers?
Yes.
Oh, well, and that's my brother-in-law. That's his family. The Zollers.
Really?
Carrie Gray.
Oh, wow. That's
So when you say it like that, it's lovely though, isn't it? It's right in the middle of the city. It's right in the middle of the city. They make you feel like you're in another world. I like that about it.
the reason I question it is I often all their lives and they don't know about it because it's kind of hidden. You're not looking for it if you're not driving through Allisonville.
And you don't know because it's hidden by the properties.
It's very hidden by the property.
But I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
I live on what I call the Street.
Oh, do you know? Oh, so that's the quieter side. That's the western
Side of it.
And I'm still going. I'm still sorting out.
It's right across the street from Maple Place.
But I'm laughing because I'm still sorting out the west, coming from the west coast. It's like I'm still my directions are still tweaked. Yeah. We have to manage. Yeah. How long have you been there?
30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, nice.
It's a nice trail. It's not going to, we don't want you to walk on it. Like, so they're not doing it.
Right.
But the Nickel Plate Trail is going to go all the way up to 156, cross over into the Marion, come down to 46th Street, cross over.
Yeah, because they're doing a lot of, they're doing so much on Nickel Plate right now.
Yeah.
They're saying it's closed.
Well, for a while, Allisonville was closed. create those crosswalks. That's open now. 56th Street. But they get it done pretty quickly once they close it down. They're going to create a bridge somewhere. Somewhere they're creating a bridge. And that'll close it down, or at least
Well, what they say about Indianapolis, there's winter and then there's construction season.
but it is nice trail.
Well, you're in a great place. You really are. You're in this pocket of wondrous things. Greg and Gary, and it's so funny because Greg and Mom were really good friends. They were in politics together. They were statesmen. They were politicians. And Greg was a statesman. He was attorney general.
I have to say, I was always impressed. He is one of the
Yeah, but that was a different platform. It was a different platform. It wasn't like the moral Victoria thing. It wasn't the. I think that when Mom started going south on the Republican Party, was when those two parties started to try to yep. And it just changed every year. So to speak. Oh, it's great that she goes to Woolworths. Yeah, that's in fact I was supposed to last Friday. I was supposed to meet up with everybody for a game night. And I just virtual class. I mean, I did what almost 70 hours. Yeah, I'm just going. It's a lot.
I almost volunteered this year, but I just couldn't because a couple of things I had to do. But I might do it next week. Volunteer, but still do my inspector on election day.
Oh, sure.
So,
Well, I know my sister Beth was here, some time here, and then she did early voting with Vera out in the barn. It was slam. Oh my God, unbelievable. So she was out there doing that on election day. She was here. So, she got to see one process, and she had seen working at the poll. They had to come back. Well, it's good that you're here for this too. It's a great.
well, I've never been to this session before, so you always wonder as an inspector what happens. I try my hardest not to create it's not, it's hard for the voter to recognize.
It's inevitable. It really, I mean,
Yeah.
it's this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the gentleman was here, but he's been here all the meetings. He just doesn't show ID.
I'm gonna see if he's one of my funds. See if he's one of
At
my
any rate, well, this year they give me and I think
The ERG 412 is changed out.
yeah, what am I
So they would force them to do a provisional.
It's a provisional ballot, yeah. So, that's the whole thing. They offered to do the regular, so long.
There's a circle on there.
Everybody here seems to know it by now. He took one of my real estate cards because when you get the other side, there's a lot down the street that I think I'd like to buy. So when you do realize that, as a buyer, before you're able to look at any properties, you've got to have a signed contract with the realtor. It could be just for one property, but you have to have one file. You've got to have a signed contract before you're even allowed to go over the property.
Buy it this way.
Yeah.
You have to be with a realtor to buy
You
this.
do.
What about a house?
So what happened was there was a lawsuit, a big lawsuit. And as a result of the lawsuit, things changed. And so you have to have a signed buyer's agreement with the realtor before you can step in and buy a property.
What if you're selling, for sale by owner?
Yeah, and the FISBO, again, that is what it is.
So you can do that, but you can't buy it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It is.
I know you have to have an attorney, or maybe you don't even have to have an attorney, but you have to have a realtor.
Yes. No, and, again, it's one of those things. You know what? As a realtor, because with all of this stuff going on, you have to know when you're ready to stay in it. And it's tough because people will pull you,
Yeah.
and you're like going, this is where the lawyer needs to step in.
Yeah.
You need to do that because that would be, again, out of my way if I were to take an advice.
She's stepping on the
Exactly. And there's a lot of gray area out there now, and that's what's happening with all our teams, is that we're seeing it all the time. As far as, especially with the buyer's agreements.
Yeah.
But I haven't, ever since I've been in it, I've been signing buyer's agreements, which I've been doing all along. So it's not a big deal for me. I mean, it is for some of our other, and it's for buyers too. These buyers are like, oh, well, this realtor over here did this, this realtor over here did this. We can't play it like that. And it's really good for everybody because that way everybody's covered.
I'll have to, I know that there has been some changes to the real estate laws, but I haven't. I haven't sold a lot of houses.
Right.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but what's fun is like, what is it?
Well, I take that back. I did sell a vacation place. It was my whole family.
But if you ever get on a website, homes.com, it's
Homes.com.
amazing.
Yeah, I know that one.
The thing I like about it is that when you're looking at a property on there, it gives you so much information about the neighborhood. I mean, they've done their homework.
Yeah.
They really have. The commercials are true. But with me, yeah, getting in there and being able to do this. So yeah, so in fact, the house that I was raised in, smacking me in the back of the head.
There you go.
But yeah, so that was the house we were raised in on Carrollton. Carrollton, a big center hall in Logan. They've gone in with a big side lot, which is why it's no, it's not now. But the last time it sold, the last sale price was $600,000. Can you believe that?
Pretty high.
Oh, it was, they've done it.
On Carrollton?
Yeah.
Between 100 months,
Between 39th and 40th and 38th. But they've done so much to it.
Yeah, they fixed it up.
And I love the big center hall. So it really is. It is.
But they did,
Yeah, but they kept some of the traditional stuff. But then what they did with the dining room, it was a separate dining room and kitchen. So they did a combination now, which is the way things are.
Yeah. I kept mine, we renovated our house.
Did you?
Yeah.
And again, everybody sort of wants a different kind of
thing.
Yeah, so that's the living room, and again, they just brightened it all up. And one of the former remodels, they did the fireplace in some kind of a craftsman era style. I'm going, no, this is some colonial.
Yeah.
So here they've just cleaned it
There
up.
are some beautiful craftsmen homes in that area.
Yeah. And it's the thing, if you like, if you're shopping down there in Garfield, there's some beautiful crafts. Yeah,
But this wasn't one of them.
no. And they turned the den into sort of an enclosed porch thing, which is really nice. But it's a great space. And then my brother and I had the third floor. which was a big dormitory. It was the whole width of the house. And so they subdivided and put more bedrooms and baths, which is a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
So, it's fun to see. The home.com is great. I love it because you just,
I look at all of them, I'm always curious about what's going on.
well, and that's good, especially like in your area. You want to see, what's selling in your area and how things have gone up and all of this. And what's funny is I'd love to go in and see the homes over like $2 million and all of this. And a lot of it is what's off college, Williams Creek.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Sunset Lane.
Yeah.
Hell, I want to go on Sunset Lane. Well, the fun living where I live in Marion, if I go for my walks, like in the summer, I try to walk 6 miles a day.
Yeah.
And so when I'm walking, I walk north. It's so much fun. Like all the houses I want to live in. But not pretty. Yeah, they're really pretty. Back there?
Oh, no.
I don't know the history.
Mark, how are you? Girl, you were pushing.
Brian.
Yeah, well, getting to just work a little bit at that desk on the last day of early voting at the city county building.
Thank you for jumping in.
No, but it was great for me. I hadn't done that. So it really gave me a sense of what you guys go.
All day.
I know. Barb.
I would tell them, change my name. So I used to tell my kids, they go, Mom, I changed my name. What you changed it? I'm telling you.
Your last name, Dwyer. You're Barb Dwyer.
Well, that last Sunday I was there. Oh, here. No. On the 3rd. I was there. I was probably a first of voter registration. I know the feeling. I know. It's just like,
There were 6 of us, all in the same.
right now. And I was expecting something that could be very easily. Not always.
Well, 6 of them, 3 of us.
Yeah.
I felt bad because the last time you needed with that line around the block was a novice.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
It felt good to at least be a part of it and see what you guys do.
So were you just running back and forth between the city county building up here, or were you doing other running on election day?
Everything you can be, I went out to the post office 3 times. I was over at Linwood a couple of times picking stuff up. Been to the city county building. How many times did you guys?
Where did you park when you come into the city county?
So I tried to pull up on Delaware if I could.
Oh, where the voters were parked.
Yeah. But that's why I wanted to be really quick in the house.
Yeah.
But then what I would do is, if it was full, then I'd go around and just come in the other side and stay there
Oh, underneath.
underneath.
Oh, I see.
Which is, it's catch. It really is.
Oh, down there, I've never been down there.
Yeah. It's major construction. It's fine. I mean, I know it well. One of those, sometimes I will speak into some of these partners. There's what I did. All I did is get stuff out. You guys, when you needed it, you needed it.
I saved it.
I don't know what they're going to do after this.
They recessed until Monday, because then Monday they certify. Monday they certify.
Okay, so nothing's really going to happen. Oh. I should get myself in back and go back to work. I'll get all the chips out of your machines.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah,
It's a village.
it does.
Ours was a big village this time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
I'll see you soon.
Oh, you mean 25? I'm thinking, yeah, I would be. I've done all
Oh, that's.
Make sure you let Jennifer know.
The movies.
Yes.
Because came up and asked me.
Patrick, can I visit the babies?
You want me to eat your
Prepare that.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I think I've got them all remade.
It is, nothing major, just to help with it. Right.
Yeah, I know. And now, well, I mean, look at clearly kids and children. Look
Yeah, I know they're great. They're terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I didn't want to be auditors. She did. And I'm like, I don't know this thing is cool. If my kids so much goes on those. Your sisters.
The ladies Becker girls. You go to the school of rule. Is that your school?
Right.
But girl within the
She and I got to
Yay!
She drove really She was down at every night. And I let her diet like this. Coming up center on West 16th Street, almost. And we're there from the with Billy, me, and Julie reached over into the station. No lie. And Billy then reached over and slapped her hand and so happy right in front of me. And I'm like, ladies, do you want my chicken baby? My chicken baby? I'm like, oh, anyway. I feel my plate to be great.
All right. Now that we've got that done, Patrick, is there any other business?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just to sort of wrap up the provisional ballot review, staff did just confirm there were 3 provisional ballot envelopes that were voted to be counted that actually did not have ballots in them. And there was 1 provisional ballot envelope that was voted to be counted that the ballot was actually blank and no precinct on it. So those, as far as the actual number of ballots tabulated may not match exactly what the board voted on. Of course, we don't know necessarily if those envelopes are empty or what's in them when they're sealed. So I just wanted to make that note for the board. And then the last thing for the board, I just wanted to, the board is aware, but we had one of our vote centers that we needed to pull ballots from there to look at the write-in images. And so the board authorized that while we were working, and I apologize. And the staff is currently sorting through those ballots to make sure that we can find the write-in votes and continue the write-in canvas tomorrow. So I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of that and members of the public.
Thank you very much. Council, is there anything else? Do I need to make a motion for recess?
You can just do it.
Okay, well, our next scheduled meeting is Monday, November 18th at 11:30 a.m. And with that, I will recess the board. Thank you all very much for everything you've done today and what you do for our city. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
You as well, donated my. Okay.
Yep.